How's everyone doing today? So we're here at a flower bed cleanup, just going through and knocking down the weeds. Went ahead and pulled all the big stuff, and I'll just show you a little bit of what I do to prep the beds. So here is a fairly clean bed. Have to blow it out still, but basically I'll go through and pull the large weeds, and then all the grass and crabgrass basically that's left, we'll go through and knock that down. For a job like this, if you were to hand pull every single blade of grass, like I would be here for days. I mean, look at this, like how it kind of goes in like that. I would be here for days. So what I did was went through, pulled all of the really tall weeds, and the reason I'll do that and not just knock it all down with the trimmer is, you see how clean that looked, right? So it, instead of having huge piles of dead weeds and having really thick stems and stalks left behind, all that really big stuff is in here. And we still have some around this pool area, but all that's left here, like these little stubs of grass that are left, I'll put a pre-emergent over those, and with about 8 out of 10 chance of success, you'll stop those from popping back up. And you obviously, I think if you claim 100% weed prevention in your landscapes, hats off to you. You're an incredible landscaper. Good job. But I think if we live in reality, I think 100% is just not really feasible. I've got 2 or 3 landscapes that I did back in 2016. Still, I'm not pulling weeds in them. Like I'll pull 1 or 2 big weeds every so often, but again, 100% is not really realistic in terms of weed control. Now, one thing I never do is weed control fabric, because it does fail eventually. It just does. And when it does, it is just a huge headache, and it is miserable to try and rip that stuff off, because the weight of the compacted mulch is just too much. It's just a pain in the butt. So I never use weed control fabric. I just trim. I pull the really big stuff. I spent like an hour or two just pulling the big stuff, and now it's basically, I got to dig out the edge, and now it's basically ready for mulch after I put the pre-emergent down. And that 8 out of 10 times will take care of keeping those weeds in control and keeping this thing looking good for the rest of the season. Another thing that I offer with my price, I include, if weeds do start to pop up, I include going through, taking care of those weeds that pop up for the rest of the season for free. So that's how confident I am in this method of doing things, is that I'm almost never going around having to pull tons and tons of weeds. Maybe I've done it once, and that was because I forgot to put the pre-emergent. There's some things to think about. I've seen people that'll get out here with tillers and till up a flower bed, but like this one, they've got a lot of irrigation and electrical stuff going on out here in their leisure area. So I'm not gonna go run a tiller through and find something, and there's just no reason to do it, really. The ground's just fine the way it is. But now I'm going to trim the hedges, and since there's no stem, really thick stem sticking up, because I pulled all the big stuff out, I can literally trim these hedges I can get inside the fence, blow everything out, and then just rake it all up, and nothing's gonna get caught, nothing's gonna get stuck, and you'll have really clean flower beds. And then the mulch will go down, and I go home to rest. It has been hot here. At the front of this job, I did on Saturday, and I got the pine straw down, re-edged those beds. Still need a little bit of pine straw over in a little area, but dude, it got so hot. It was like 90, I think it was 94 when I looked at the peak, and it literally got so hot that, let's see if you can get that. Where's it at? Well, you can't really see it now, but because it's Tuesday now, but dude, it was so hot that shaking out the bales of pine straw where the gloves were on my wrist, like right in here. I don't know if you can see that. It was actually rubbing blisters on my arms, so it was hot. And so I got it looking really good up front, and then I was just like, dude, it's too hot, I gotta go. So then I got out here today at like 8, and now, or 8:30, and now it's like 10-ish, 10:30, something like that. I don't know, I have to look, but they said mulch should be delivered today. I really hope it is, because I am so far behind, and that's the only reason I'm kind of sitting here chit-chatting on camera, because I'm waiting on mulch. I think I ordered 16 yard. I don't know how much I ordered. 16, 15. I ordered a lot of mulch, but you know, the main thing with mulch is you don't want to lay it too thick. You want to lay it enough so that sunlight is not getting through to the soil, because that's how your weeds sprout up. So lay it down pretty light. About 3 inches is sort of recommended. I've found a lot of success with 1.5 inch of mulch. And the reason I do that is because it's cheaper on me, less time, and it's cheaper on the customer. You know, like I say, I found on occasion that 3 inches is kind of what you would need for, it depends on the soil really, but for the most part, 1.5 to 2 inches worth of mulch layer. You know, I always try to go under the recommendation to see what kind of a result I get, and if I need to, I'll bump it up to the standard. And the reason I do that is just because it works. I mean, you get a very nice aesthetic, and like I say, it's cheaper on me, less time on me, and it's cheaper on the customer. So you know, there's little things. I always kind of go off script, off recommendations when I can. Like with these hedges, we're consistently in 90-degree weather right now, and I'm trimming hedges left and right. And the reason that I do that is right now you don't do a hard trim in the summer. You do just the growth. So there's like obviously these weird little stems sticking out. Just clip those, and that's all you need to do, just to give it a little bit of a shape and form. And usually that does pretty well. I've not seen it. I've only seen one or two hedges of mine brown up, and then you just put some water down, you know. And we've got 6 days of rain predicted. We'll probably get half a day of rain if we're lucky, because we live in a valley. But yeah, I'm not too worried about heat right now, because I got a ton of work. Anyway, mulch should be on the way. I really hope they get it out here soon, because I need it. And yeah, I will hopefully get that today, and if it doesn't come, I'll just go mow some yards, because I've got to do that too. Alright, I gotta go. everyone celebrated, had a good time. I'm out here today trimming some hedges. Let's take a look at these. Okay, so here we are. It is a hot 90, what is it? 92, I think is what it said on the phone. Hang on a minute. It's 3 o'clock. Yeah, we got 92 degrees. And we're out here trimming hedges. Now, I know most people are going to be like, why would you trim hedges in such high heat? Well, look at how much we're taking off here. Next to nothing. And I'll show you an example of how much I'm taking off here. But basically, I'm only trimming off the new growth that makes it look a little bit scraggly. A lot of the times when we trim hedges, we trim it to shape it, to give it that tight circular or square shape. It's not what we're doing here with the summer trim. So that's going to prevent a lot of issues with the things dying. So let's see, there was one, okay, right here. See how this is kind of misshapen still? There's a reason for that. I don't want to take too much away from the side. I've already taken a little bit too much right here. But if you were to take more and just, if you were to like divide these 3 shrubs right here and give them their own little circular pattern, like around here, and then around here, and then around, let me see if I can get it here. If you were to give them their own small circular pattern, you risk losing either that entire side of the bush or the entire shrub. Now, how do you think I figured that one out? Well, the first couple of years doing this, I would have easily shaped it up. Like check this out. See how that's kind of square? Hopefully it's picking it up, but it's kind of square looking right here. I would like to see that rounded out, but you can't trim that hard when it's 90 degrees. Check out this. It's not a perfect circle, but especially when I've got big holes like this, I don't want to trim too hard. These shrubs, I don't know what they are, but they're like a thorny, kind of nasty thing. It's hard to walk in between them because you get your legs stuck. But this purple, these were all purple before. And the goal is like they have little stems sticking up. All I want to do is get rid of that stem. I'm not trimming to give them a hard, crisp, circular shape. We're just trimming to get them to look a little less scraggly. And actually what I've noticed is with these shrubs like this, in the last landscape cleanup, which I think will be in this video, 2 weeks later, those bushes in that last landscape that looked like this, where they have the purple on the outside and then the green on the inside like that, they're already ready to be trimmed again in 90 degree, consistent 90 degree June weather. It's because we're only taking off just a little bit. It's it's the least invasive method. Same thing right here, see? It's not perfectly shaped up, but again, if you were to perfectly shape them, you could cause some issues. I did go a little bit hard on this one. See how it's got that space there? But that should be fine. These more dense ones are usually okay, but when you get down in here, you see some bare spots, but hopefully it's shaded enough because the sun goes directly over the house here, so you're not going to get a ton of sunlight. Got these little guys, I just barely touched those. And I think I can't remember if I planted those back in 2016 or not. I planted some for her. I never got an update. I'll ask her and I'll let you know. These right here, same thing. Like, you can see how much I've taken off, right? There's almost nothing at all removed. And we're just barely shaping it. And that might even be too much for this shrub, in my opinion. But here is kind of where I'm at. It's a little hot, so I decided to take a break and film, but here's where we're at. You see how these are kind of scraggly looking? So all I'm gonna do, see if I can get this, like this right here, this little stem, that's all I'm taking off. Just a very little bit. And that's gonna give you nice, clean looking shrubs like these. And this is the last stretch of it right here. I've been trimming for about an hour and a half now. And it is hot. Very, very hot. So I'm going to take a miniature break. I'm going to get into the truck, cool off for a minute. I might actually go eat because I'm not eating today. You don't want to do that. Okay, it is flipping hot. I'm going to take a short break from this one. Oh, forgot my hedge trimmer. I'm going to take a short break from this one. And we're going to go get some food, come back, finish this last stretch. It's just too hot right now. We're in like that 2 to 3:30 is about the peak heat of the day, and I've got another job that I have to do right after this. So we're gonna go eat some food, come back and finish trimming these. Then nose is itching. And then after these are trimmed, we'll go and do this other job. And yeah, then we'll call it a day. The other job I've got to do, finishing up a landscape I started about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's been raining a lot. And I actually forgot that yesterday was the 4th of July. I was going to do the hedge trimming on here on Tuesday, do their pine straw tomorrow, or on Wednesday, which was the 4th, yesterday. But then I was like, oh wait, they're not going to be, the pine straw supplier's not going to be open. It's too late in the day to order from them. When I realized that, I'm a little slow, guys. So basically what I did is on Tuesday, I mowed all except for 2 of my Wednesday scheduled yards. And today I'm out here, I mowed one of their neighbors. It was a cleanup job, so it took about 2 or 3 hours. And when I say neighbor, it's like next door neighbor. And then we're doing these hedges today. I've got like a 9-yard day tomorrow. If I have time, I'll come back and lay their pine, but I'll probably be out to do their pine on Saturday, and then this one will be done. And then at that point, I'm officially caught up, because on Tuesday I did 10 yards and 2 landscape cleanups. They were a lot smaller, small enough that you could do those on the same day you do 10 yards. So it's hot. I'm gonna stop talking to you and go get some food.